This is quite interesting. The Simpsons, Homer Simpson actually says the year 2031, talking about China and the war.
I saved my 2014 joke-a-day calendar because the calendar's the same in the year 2031, and we're really going to need some laughs then, after World War China.
And that episode was number 11 on season 28, called Pork and Burns. And I actually downloaded the episode. I have yet to watch it. I'm kind of curious what kind of revelation they insert in the episode. I find it so interesting trying to figure out the time frame of the end time nightmare, when they're going to depopulate the earth, when we're going into a cashless society, when the mark of the beast, when the destruction of America is going to happen. Well, I made a video a couple months ago called 2 Steps Away, Mark of the Beast. And what I learned is South Korea wants a cashless society by 2020. Countries with the highest proportion of cashless transactions right now is, believe it or not, Singapore, the Netherlands, France, Sweden, Canada, Belgium. They are already prepared to go into a cashless society. I even found out Sweden wants to go cashless by the year 2023, or could go cashless by 2023. I don't know how many of you are aware, but Amazon apparently has these cashier-less stores, grocery stores, where basically you can't get in the building unless you swipe your app on your phone. I'm sure there's 1,000 cameras in the building. And basically what is happening right now is we are desensitizing the mass population to a cashless society and one step away from having a chip in your hand and being a mindless slave to the New World Order. We are literally witnessing it happening right now. So the Simpsons predict a female president will come after Trump. And if you go to Google and type in like female president 2020, they actually show like female candidates. And see, I can't figure out who the real 44 is. I can't prove if Trump is the real 44 or if the next president is the real 44. I do know this. The theory is that the original Israel, judgment fell on the 44th king. And judgment is going to fall on America on the 44th president, the real 44. So if you go and investigate it, number 22 is actually the same as 24, which would knock Obama back. He's 43. And if they pulled a great deception, and we know the power elite loves creating these hoaxes and deceptions, if John F. Kennedy is actually Jimmy Carter, then that would knock Obama back to 42, which means Trump could be 43, and the next president, a female, which was actually would be born a man. If the next president is a female, I can assure you this, she was born a man, and she will be the last president. If John F. Kennedy is actually separate from Jimmy Carter, then that means Trump is the real 44. I know I am anticipating the year 2020. Like I've never anticipated a year more than 2020 just to see what's really going to happen. Something else that's very interesting, I remember seeing a video a couple years ago on Rob Skiba where he believes that the calendar is actually 2 years off, and the year 2010, when all the weird earthquakes, it was like earthquakes happened all around the world all at the same time, he believes that was actually 2012. So if the calendar is actually off 2 years, that means 2031 would actually be 2033, which is the occultic's favorite number, their big 33. So there's a possibility they may want to have their New World Order established before the year 2033, which is actually 2031, so that they can sit back and celebrate and praise their master Lucifer, or their master Nimrod, their world leader Nimrod, whatever. But it really makes you think, because all you have to do is just look at how close we are to a cashless society. How close are we to being programmed to have a chip in our hand and walk through a cashier-less grocery stores? Somebody pointed out a couple years ago that Trump Pence just happens to rhyme with trumpets. And we know that there most likely could be a fake rapture, a staged rapture, a great deception. We know that the power elite like to create these riddles and hints and clues and rhymes and all this crap. They sit back and laugh and snicker with one another while all of us brainwashed slave class are confused and trying to figure out what they're up to. But I do find it interesting Trump Pence just happens to rhyme with trumpets. And something else that's interesting, the 2006 series Jericho that got canceled at like halfway through the second season, I was told that the Congress and Senate wanted it. They had the show canceled or cut off because it was educating people on how to survive or prepare for an apocalyptic scenario. But this TV show depicted the power grid goes down, all communications go down for like 2.5 week period of time, and when the power is restored, there's like a new government coming into play. Kind of sounds like what Ken Peters saw. I'm starting to wonder, did Ken Peters see the fake rapture? You know what I'm saying? But I went back to the pilot episode of Jericho to take another look, and during the presidential meeting with the Congress and Senate, it kind of looks like the yearly presidential address that's held at like the U.S. House of Representatives annually. But you can see the president and all the Congress and Senate are all together, and then the power grid goes down, and everybody's sitting back wondering, hey, what's going on? And then these kids are playing hide and go seek, and one of them just happens to be on the roof and looks towards Denver, and a nuclear bomb is going off. And then later on in the show, they depict the culprit behind these attacks. I think it's like North Korea and Iran, which we know are New World Order puppets already in place for the big planned out war and destruction. What I find disturbing in the show is they portrayed Washington, D.C. as being bombed or destroyed, which means when the president and Congress and Senate are all together at once, they all get, blown up. Kind of disturbing, huh? But like again, I am very much anticipating the year 2020 to see what's really going to happen. Is there going to be a big stock market crash and pandemonium and welfare gets cut off and bloodshed in the streets? Who knows?